Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and across the table is, of course, Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Another day, buddy.
You're just staring into my eyes.
What can I say?
You're just lost.
Yeah. Something like, I have the weirdest boner right now.
I had to turn away.
Yeah.
I, too, was getting aroused.
But I do want to give a quick shout out to Ken Shoemaker and PDM Steel. Dude, they've been hooking it up lately. Like they took us to the rodeo, and then they took us to the celebrity golf tournament,
How
which
was
was
that?
Fucking awesome. I really want to play Edgewood. I'm not good enough to do it, but
yeah,
it's like $350 for 18 holes over there. Like it's fucking pricey, but it's a gorgeous course. We walked the whole thing.
Where is that?
It's
Where's it located?
It's right across. It's right by the casinos up there at the lake.
Oh, gotcha.
State line. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
So
it's a Tahoe course then.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's right along the water. Like it's fucking gorgeous.
Seem to be some famous celebrities there.
Yeah, Macklemore. We saw him. We saw Charles Barkley. It was a lot of like sports ball players. So I didn't know who the fuck half of them were, you know.
Gotcha.
But your idol, Larry the Cable Guy, was there.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I appreciated that picture.
But it was a great time. And then they took us out to fancy dinner, and they got us a hotel room up there, and then they're hosting a golf tournament for us next weekend.
Okay.
So,
did you guys play or just observe? Like, what were you guys doing up there?
You can't play up there.
But you can go hang out and watch them
you
play.
just watch them play.
Okay.
But they had a tent on the 16th green up there, so it was like, we were like arm's reach away from these people. So,
interesting.
yeah. Steph Curry hit a hole-in-one on 17th hole or 7th hole, one or the other. I think he got like $500,000 for that shit. Yeah. And it happened on live TV, so it's like It's undeniable,
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, the Brewers came in, right?
Yeah, we got to see them for a little bit.
So yeah, they came in, and then I saw a picture on social media. Matt was in a polo. Almost didn't recognize him.
Yep.
But no, that's awesome. You guys got to go up there and hang out and do that. So it looked like fun.
It was. Yeah, it was a blast. So
yeah, good. Well, good for Ken.
Yeah.
Hooking it up, man.
Yeah. So I was like hanging out with Ken. Like, he's even said so. He was just like, you guys aren't really a client. You guys are more like my friends. So
yeah. I was sitting in a meeting with one of my clients, and he walked in. One of my clients down in Gardnerville, and he walked in, and he was like, "I was just listening to you."
Yeah, right.
He goes, and I'm kind of fangirling out right now. Like, shut up, Ken.
Yeah,
get in here.
Yeah, Shalase was she was there with us too.
Awesome.
And she looks incredible right now. She is fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Because Miss Olympia's coming up, so
yeah,
she's in competition mode.
Yeah.
But like we're all out to this like crazy dinner and shit, and she's just like got meal prep with her. She had to leave at one point to go eat. They wouldn't let her bring her food in.
Of course they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she had to go eat her meal prep, and I was like, damn, that's some fucking dedication.
It is, man. Yeah. Discipline. It's cool. Katie kind of has like a fangirl crush on Shalase, from listening to her on the podcast, and she wants to meet her, one time when she's out here. So we'll have to get together with Ken and Shalase, and when she's not meal prepping.
Right. Yeah.
I'd be interested to see. I don't remember when the show is, but I'll have to check it out and see.
Yeah.
But no, that's they're such good people.
Yeah.
And the old saying, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," is so accurate.
Right.
And when you're around high performers, you perform higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the energy's up. I mean, one of the things that I find fascinating is the better quality of people you're around, the less dumb shit you do.
Right. Yeah, everybody holds each other to a higher standard. So, but I've been golfing quite a bit lately with Thomas Parachu from Thomas Precision Welding, Kyle Eldridge from Sierra View Equipment, and Kyle Jarbo. Like the 4 of us have been, because Kyle Eldridge, he golfs quite a bit, and he's pretty good. And he was like, that was the longest 18. We went and played Sunridge, He was like, that was the longest 18 holes of golf I've ever played, but I think that was the most fun I've ever had playing golf.
I was going to ask because I know those 4 people on some level, and I can't imagine there's any laughter or shit talking.
No, not at all. It's stone faced the whole time, sober as a jaybird or whatever the fuck. And then Thomas is his wife, Katie. She runs the beer carts on Sunday, so it's like she just follows us around for 18 holes. You know,
you guys got a mobile bartender for it. That's
and then I give her a little ball grabber thing, and she's running around picking up all of her shitty shots. And yeah.
It no. The 4 of you, I'm sure, is highly entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Good for you. I didn't know you'd been playing golf outside of the few times that you go with Ken.
Yeah. No, I've been. Kat and I went and shot 9 holes Sunday at like 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, nobody was out there because it was still like it was just starting to cool off. But it was that was the best round of golf I've ever played.
Yeah.
I usually don't keep score, but when I'm hitting par or bogey on every hole.
Down.
Yeah. I'm like, oh shit. Today's the day,
Sunday evenings are pretty dead around here.
Yeah.
Even up at the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weekends ago, I hiked down to Skunk Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 2-mile hike. It's simple. It's all trails, nothing crazy. It's downhill there, uphill back. But I went down at probably 5:30, 6 o'clock, and just grabbed my backpack, grabbed a cigar, and went down off of the beach a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, there was nobody up there.
Yeah, I mean, Sundays, that's Exodus Day. Everybody goes back to the Bay Area and whatnot. So
I passed a lot of people walking down, but once I got to the beach, there was a couple people there. Within an hour, it was a ghost town.
Right.
And I thought, this is amazing.
Yeah. Well, dude, because that traffic getting out of the Bay or getting out of Tahoe on Sundays is fucking infuriating.
Yeah.
There's just a stream of cars, and especially after like 4th of July, when all those fucking pricks came up there and just trashed all the fucking beaches, dude. I was so pissed. Because usually they pick up like 2,500 pounds of trash. This year it was 8,500 pounds of trash. Like people just leaving full easy ups, leaving coolers,
Wow.
Yeah. Like just asshole shit, And it's like, dude, but the fucked up part about that whole thing is that these companies make all this fucking money off of all these tourists being up there, and then a volunteer group has to go out and clean up after these motherfuckers. And it's like, I think the casinos and all, there needs to be some sort of coalition that pays for that cleanup. It's a volunteer group that's out there scuba diving, picking up the trash that all of your customers came up here and dumped all over the place.
Littering is one of those things with me that I think there should be a death penalty for.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I'm not going to say it's a really long list, but for whatever reason, to me, because that's a fucking behavior problem.
That is a height of fucking laziness. And do you do that shit where you come from? Right. Do you go home and fucking throw trash in your front yard?
So spending as many years as I did working inside people's homes, a lot of them do.
Yeah, they do. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's really crazy. One of the biggest lessons that I learned is how much people invest into perception. And I've worked in some crazy, phenomenal houses. Now the big McMansions, they were pristine.
Right. Yeah, because they got somebody to do it for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pristine. But I've worked in some, 2-story brick homes that are manicured to the T on the outside, asphalt, circle drive, the bushes, the landscaping, a fucking postcard. And it's trashed inside. They haven't seen a vacuum cleaner in a year.
Yeah.
And between dog hair and I don't like laundry. Like, how do you not need that again?
Right.
So these people just fucking buy different clothes all the time.
Right.
I learned a lot about perception and reality working inside people's homes. And And yeah, there's a lot of people that do live like that, Nate.
Well, you know what? I was like, what we should do is just fucking load up all these dump trailers and just take them into the Bay Area and just start dumping it all over the streets.
Would they notice?
Probably not. No. Yeah. If you go up to the nicer neighborhoods, yeah, they probably would. But
yeah, it's unfortunate that behavior like that is.
Dude, it's almost like it's a hive mentality at that point,
right.
Like you see trash on the ground, so you're like, well, fuck it. There's already trash down there, and then, people are so fucked up there on the beaches on 4th of July that it's just like, half of them probably don't even know they're doing it, but then everybody just compounds on it. They're like, well, I'm not going to throw this away. There's all this trash out here already. So fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. I don't know. Behavior is such a big thing to me, and being intentional about whatever you're doing is such a big thing to me. I couldn't imagine going somewhere and just leaving my shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we avoid the lake like the plague on 4th of July weekend. Labor Day and Memorial Day. Dude, it's just not fun to be up there. Like, there's so many bad attitudes, like the 25-year-olds with all the bravado. And it's like, dude, I will feed you your fucking teeth, dude. Like,
I would like to state an observation that I have made recently. The demographic of poor drivers.
Oh, God damn. It's so frustrating around here.
For whatever reason, young men cannot operate a motor vehicle.
Yep. Dude, especially you get the Flatlanders out of the Bay and you get them up in the mountain passes and they're doing 15 miles an hour under the speed limit because they're scared. And then you hit the passing lanes and they're doing 80 and then slam on the fucking brakes at the end of the passing lane. Like that right there, like that's enough for me to like just pull the car over and
dead.
Yeah. Right.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if I was in Big Red, I would just push you into the fucking river,
I've been purposeful about paying attention to when I see somebody just have a real piece of shit move on the road.
Yeah.
I'm always interested of who the fuck is behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a 100-year-old blind dog.
Right. Yeah.
But I am fucking blown away at how often, and I'm saying this, it is a majority, are young men.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 20 to 30 young men cannot operate a fucking vehicle.
I think they're so distracted too. They're constantly fucking around with their phones while they're driving. Like you see somebody do something really stupid and you pull up next to them because you want to see if they look as dumb as they drive. And yeah, they do. And they're still on their phone. They almost fucking crashed because they were using their phone and they're still using it. They're like, oh, that was close. Yeah. And then they're back to using the phone.
Or you get it by them and they're the ones that have the slouch and they're open mouth breathing.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, what are you looking at?
Right, yeah. Not the road.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So that's an observation I've made recently. And
well, between those young men and then all the blue hairs that we have out here, the retirees that just aren't in a fucking hurry to do anything.
Every day's Saturday.
Yeah, dude. So it's just like between those two trying to navigate this fucking town, especially downtown Gardnerville.
I got to admit, I don't enjoy coming to Gardnerville as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I love that town, but the traffic is...
Yeah, they're supposed to be...
constant flow.
Oh, yeah. They're supposed to be putting a bypass in around. Okay. But they've been talking about it for 15 fucking years.
Well, like 88 and around? Or
no,
what?
They're going to go all the way back, kind of like by where our shop is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I think East Valley was where they were talking about putting it in.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Nobody listening to us cares about what we're talking about right now.
Local traffic. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy though. But all right. There we go. Squeal in the blanks.
Yeah.
Blinker. Topic of discussion. First bit is no, actually, this is coming out probably after 200. So, thanks for the questions. Right, yeah. This will be coming out after our 200 episode. So I'm looking forward to that because we're gonna record that next week, actually. But as I've said on here before, a lot of times topics of discussion for us come from things that I'm seeing in the coaching that's relevant. So it's either something you're dealing with in the market or clients or the team. And then for me, it's something I'm seeing kind of consistently through my clients. And here recently, it's been sales. about looking at what is sales? How do you want that experience to feel? What does it look like for you? How much of it is systematic? What questions are you asking, including asking for the sale? So I thought you and I would dive into kind of a sales 101, but sales process in our conversation tonight. And I want to kick that off by revisiting the 5 C's, because the 5 C's are relevant to successful operation of any business. And the way that I explain it to people, I said, you think about your favorite restaurant. And when you think about your favorite restaurant, do you go there because they have the best food around, or is it because of you have the best experience there? Every once in a while, you check both of those boxes, but most of the time, it's because of the experience. When you look at the operation of that experience, they meet 5 pieces of criteria, the 5 C's. 1 is communicate. Somebody immediately engages with you when you walk into the door. So they communicate with you, ask you how many, ask you how your night's going, ask you if you want to sit at the bar, do you have reservations, whatever. They immediately engage with you through communication. The second one is connection. Through that communication process, they start to connect with you. You trust that this individual is going to lead you to where you want to be. Connection to creation. Once they have you seated, what does someone bring you? A menu. Okay? So what they have done is they have created option-based solutions to the reason you're there.
Right.
So communicate, connect, and create. A lot of companies do that on some level, most not well. Your favorite restaurant is because of the last 2. Commitment and consistency. You know that they're committed to doing that and creating that experience every time consistently. So you can go for lunch or dinner and you're going to get treated the same. They meet the 5 C's. When you look at your sales process and you look at the operations of your business, you have to identify how well you are meeting that criteria.
Right.
Are you going through the 5 C's? How do you communicate? How do you connect? How do you create? How are you committing? The committing is easier than people think. It's doing the things you said you were going to do. When you said you were going to do them, how you said you were going to do them. That's the whole commitment part. And the consistency is just doing it every day.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's really not that difficult. You have to be mindful of it, but because stuff does get away from us, especially with like the smaller project shit, like we have people come in that they've been our clients for 5 years and they just have like all this little shit that they want done, which is, we always said we're going to help out the community, but sometimes it's really difficult to squeeze them in any sort of like appropriate time frame. When we start telling people, it's going to be a month, I'm like, well, it's only like an hour project. And it's like, yeah, we don't have a fucking hour. Sorry. Yeah. So, but trying to, and that's where Matt and I'll jump in, or we let the guys do it on the weekends or whatever. But that's where, the commitment to the client and the things that you do, like it's hard to maintain that sometimes, but
it's simple, not easy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect way to put it. Yeah.
Simple, not, because you have to take into consideration every other variable, other clients, other constraints. We've talked about it before. Material, somebody's sick, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Something is going to create adversity in maintaining that commitment with that client. So it's very simple, but it's very difficult to apply.
Right.
The consistency part comes in, which is interesting to me, how inconsistent business owners are. And consistent is everything from how you show up, so punctuality, uniform or branding, organization, communication, systematic operation, implementation. Are you having weekly meetings? What are you doing consistently? And I did a GSD on this, but there's a difference between habits and routines.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to create routines in your business that you can repeat consistently that's going to allow you to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You have that expectation with the team of clocking into a job consistently.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that they have to do consistently. So when you look at the operations of the business and then you look at the sales process, the consistency there is how are you reaching out to your clients? How are you creating brand awareness? How are you returning calls? How are you following up? How are you minding the gap? How are you doing all of these things? And that's why consistency is the 5th C, because you have to have the other 4 in place.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can do that consistently.
Well, people want to know what to expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best way to give them that.
Yes.
Is being consistent and just executing consistently.
Right.
Is that one seems to be hard for people to figure out as it is, But I mean, especially with us being in the custom world, it is kind of hard to develop that consistency, because everything changes, everything's different. So
kind of daily, it seems.
Yeah.
For you guys, on some of the projects, I know every project isn't that way, but you do have some projects where it is a moving target.
Yeah. Yep.
The consistency aspect of that is trying to hit that target.
Right. Yeah. That's,
keep shooting.
Yeah. But that's why our guys are so adaptable. They can pick something up and run with it. They can figure things out. Because everything does change, and they've gotten really good at that. And I think that is our consistency, is our ability to adapt.
Yeah. I'd say that's a really good observation, because they can come in with maybe needing to be in the field all day. One phone call changes that, and now you've got 5 guys in the shop.
Right.
And they make it work.
Mm-hmm.
They do adapt very quickly. Some guys are welding outside, some guys are painting out in the back 40 and
right, yeah.
or whatever, but they do adapt and they get it done. And that consistency is important. The most important, I think, ingredient though of consistency is fucking showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Just showing up and putting yourself into that role at whatever capacity you're operating at that day, and just fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
Show up. If you're operating at 50%, then give me all of your 50%.
Right.
Kind of thing. So I think that's important. The sales process is so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of daunting to people in the trades.
Yeah.
Because we weren't taught how to sell, and the immediate perception that we create is the sleazy car salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to be that.
Right.
I have yet to have a conversation with anyone that says, I want to be that guy.
Mm-hmm. I want to rob people.
Yeah. I want to pressure them into buying things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, negotiate down to the last thing so I get what I want. Nobody says that. So what do? We wait for people to contact us.
Mm-hmm.
So we hope that we have enough market or brand awareness or reputation. We wait for people to contact us. We go meet with them or have a conversation with them. We don't ask the right questions to identify what they want. We start telling them what we can do for them and what we think they need.
Mm-hmm.
They agree out of ignorance because they're not the professional.
Right.
We create a proposal. We email it to them and then hope they call.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how.
No follow up. Just
that's it. That unless that client comes back, that's the end of the whole transaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's how most small businesses and definitely most tradesmen run their business.
Yeah, and I think especially for contractors though, the sales gig is so much fucking different. When you're a sub and you're working under some of these larger generals, like in the public works arena, your numbers are your sales tactic. That because that's all that matters. Lowest bidder, right? Now in the custom game, it's a little more difficult because not only are you selling to the homeowner, but you're selling to that general contractor too. You got to convince two different parties that your prices are what they should be and that your idea is what's going to work, right?
How often do you get to sell to the homeowner and not through the general to the homeowner?
It's the ornamental side, we do a lot more of that. But as far as like structural members are concerned, that's all done through the general.
Okay.
So, because we'll bring up our issues, like, once we get down to building the railing. For one, we like to have the buy-in of the client, so most of the numbers that I put in for ornamental are WAG numbers. I'm like, depending on how you want it built, or if you want to upgrade this or whatever, like here's our baseline for per linear foot of railing, right? But some of that stuff, it's like we had one house up there at Clear Creek where we built all this railing. We went to go install it, and the wife was like, I fucking hate that. I don't like it. We had to tear it all out and build completely new shit, Yeah. They paid for it, of course, right. But it was still a weird. It was just like, oh my God.
It's like, what did I miss?
Yeah. So now we try to get involved with the homeowners. Be like, hey, we need to talk to them. Like, this is the last thing that has to be done in this house to get C of O. Let's do it once, get them their occupancy, and let us run our ideas by them. Because there's a lot of times too that like architects will put some sort of railing in there, and we're just like, that's going to look like fucking shit. Like, we need to change the design on the railing. So it's kind of this. We hate rework, right? Well, whether we're getting paid for it or not,
that's right.
We just like, we have too much other shit we need to be out doing, So, but we like to get the clients involved. And even if we have like a demo, and we've done enough of this stuff now that we have photos and stuff that we can show them of things that we've already built. But yeah, that changing mid-stride while they're also up your ass about getting C of O, right. It's like, you can't have the cake and eat it too. Like,
it disrupts momentum like crazy.
Oh, dude. And it takes the piss out of the guys.
It does.
Because they do incredible work. And it's clearly that railing is only going to fit in that one fucking spot for that one fucking house. And now they got to throw their fucking work away. And it's like, fuck, dude, that takes it out of you,
I like that example because pieces of it align with the process that I'm talking about. And whether you're dealing with the client or the general, it's about identifying the want or need and creating option-based solutions. And what's really dangerous is when a contractor makes decisions for the homeowner.
Yes, and that's happened a lot.
And, I understand structural is one thing, but when you're talking about curb appeal and ornamental, the sex appeal of the house, when a contractor is like, oh yeah, just make them black. That client needs to know that they have an entire book of color options.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of HOAs that we have to deal with, like especially Clear Creek. Dude, everything has to be approved. And it's fucking nuts, like the adjustments that CCT wants to make. And you're like, okay, so like we can't just shift direction like that without getting the approval from Clear Creek HOA. So like it's not an overnight process, like we got to run it through all the channels. So that being, like when you're bidding on stuff like in a custom market, you have to take all that stuff into consideration, like do we have finalized drawings for these railings? Do we have approval from the homeowner? Do we have approval from the fucking general? Do we have approval from CCT? Like, we don't get to just make moves on the fly,
Right.
So that's something we really we understand what that process looks like that now, and now our pricing reflects that.
I know a question that you and Matt have learned to ask recently is, do we have the latest update?
Updated prints, yeah.
And that actually helped you guys solve a problem recently, from what I understand. But it's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a really good question to ask, because I've also learned, just observing what you guys do, how many sets of prints can be altered and sent out in a month.
Yeah.
So you meet with like the project manager, and then a month later, you're talking with the superintendent, and there's been 3 revisions to that set of plans.
Yeah, you know what's fucked up too is that this winter, especially, you know, we were getting our asses kicked, and come to find out like a lot of these houses, there were design changes, and we'd already built all the steel. We're like, whoa, hold on.
That's fun.
Yeah, because the house had been sitting there for fucking 9 months to a year, you know, and the homeowners started fucking with shit. They decided they want to move things.
Get bored.
And, yeah, they're staring at these plans all the time, you know, like, oh, you know, it'd be great if we had a jacuzzi over here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that takes some structural support to have all that fucking water on a deck, right? So there was a lot of changes that happened, and trying to stay out in front of those changes is very difficult.
Is that a change order process?
If they'd already cleared us to fabricate steel, then yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which you guys don't fabricate anything.
Dude, we're getting to the point now where we're not even going to start fabricating until stem walls are in. Well, like, dude, I don't know what it is, but it's really hard to find a quality concrete contractor around here. Like, I mean, I'm talking walls are like 6 inches away from where they're supposed to be, you know? So, and like one of them, dude, the fucking pedestal the footing was supposed to be in the wall. Well, they poured like a sonotube fucking pedestal for this thing. And we're like, that's not where that goes. You know, like that's not even in the fucking plans. Why is that there? You know? So I think we're going to start doing it that way where we're going to fabricate as we go. You know, we're going to fab, go install, you know, it's the only way to alleviate a lot of these fucking problems at this point. So it sucks because that holds up schedules, you know, so, you know, because they want steel going in right after that, all that stuff's in.
It holds up schedules on the front end.
Right.
Instead of rework and holding up schedules on the back end. When you have, and then on the back end, you have to get other trades involved. Right? Did your ear just fucking fall out?
Sure did.
You fucking pulled your headphone away.
Yeah.
I was like, did you have an AirPod in there this whole time?
Yeah, I haven't heard a single word you've said.
Lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, unfortunately, you're just shifting the stall, you know, and it's going to be on the front end, but at least it alleviates the rework and the mistakes, and you're able to build. Well,
and the shitty part is that we have another contractor that we work with, Advanced Design Construction. This guy, Jeff Miller, runs it. He's been building custom homes for like 30 or 40 years. His shit is on fucking point. Like, he takes full ownership of his job. You know, he only builds like 3 or 4 houses a year now, just because he's been doing it long enough. He's made his money. I think he does it just to keep himself busy. But, dude, I mean, he goes through our steel detailing with a fine-tooth comb. He sets all the elevations and tops of concrete, and he goes out and he surveys the forming before anybody pours a stem wall.
He's like a superintendent.
He's like, yeah, exactly. So, but just to work with a guy like that, and then Jess Merithew's like that too. Like, they take full ownership of their job sites. So, but then you have all these other ones that are, you know, these other home builders that are just cranking shit out, right? And they got like dumbasses in their superintendent positions, you know, like straight up knuckle draggers. And it's like trying to figure out which one is which as far as the quality of the contractor. Dude, and if you're selling, you better fucking make sure that you know which one of those contractors is which.
It's a good point. And I think across the board, you need to know who you want your client to be. That is going to elevate your sales ability as much as any system. If you know who your client, you know who you want your client to be. And when you get in the opportunity to get in front of that client, Matt was telling me about ADC and Matt being Gazer Beam. He was excited to work with that construction company.
Dude, all the all threads were straight.
Right.
I've never seen that on a job site before. You know, usually they're wang chunged as fuck. Even though we give them laser cut templates for the anchors, you still go out there and these things are fucked off. You know, and so it was Matt was just like giddy as shit when he got back
like
to the
Christmas Day for him.
He was like, "Oh my God, you should have seen it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, in your world, I know that finding that person is a small statistic.
Mm-hmm.
On a residential sales market or working market, there's a lot bigger pool to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to one of my clients earlier this week, and we got on the conversation of qualifying the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to call you, and just like you said, somebody comes in and says, "Man, it only takes an hour." Yeah, they think that it only takes an hour, but now they're trying to really impede on the operations of your business.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the opportunity to accommodate them at some point, great. But qualifying those leads is going to help you alleviate some of those difficult conversations on the back end. So if somebody, I'm going to use HVAC for example. Somebody calls me and says, "Hey, I want to get a price on a 3-ton AC unit, new furnace, whatever." My job is to gather information from that client and then work to qualify that lead. And I may go, "Okay, Nate, so with the furnace and AC market, one thing that we have is options."
Mm-hmm.
We've installed furnaces from $4,000 to $6,000, and we've installed furnaces from $12,000 to $15,000. Which of those conversations would you like to have?
Mm-hmm.
And by putting some numbers out there and asking that simple question, you are steering that client into their budget.
Right. And you're not wasting time. You're not wasting your time. You're not wasting their time with trying to sell them your most top of line shit when they're, for one, they don't need it. And for two, they can't afford it.
Mm-hmm. So if I say that to you and you get sticker shock,
mm-hmm.
you might not be my best client.
Mm-hmm.
If I say that to you and you tell me that, yeah, Josh, that $4,000 to $6,000 range, that's kind of what we were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, all right, we definitely have some good options in that market.
Would you dissuade people from giving people ranges?
I encourage it.
Because when people hear $4,000 to $6,000, they hear $4,000.
I think that used to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And actually, sales trainings that I've been through in the past, they would tell us to not give ranges.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned is in that conversation, you have to create clarity
mm-hmm.
and you have to create expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to give that number in passing, and you want to make sure that they understand it. But if I say we have options that range from $4,000 to $6,000, or if I say we have options that are around $5,000,
mm-hmm.
to me, I'm limiting myself to $5,000
mm-hmm.
instead of opening myself up for the $4,000 to $6,000.
Right. Well, yeah, and I guess that kind of that gives you an opportunity to explain the value of going to $6,000 above
mm-hmm.
$4,000 in that sales conversation,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. So it's also personality style. I
mm-hmm.
think it's important to sell based on your personality style.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to contradict myself here because it's really important, but doing it in a way that the client can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to you can sell on your style and communicate based on their style.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a high detailed person, I know I'm going to have a lot of information for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a nuts and bolts kind of guy, you just want to know what's the miles per gallon
right.
and how much does it cost?
Yep.
And when can you put it in kind of thing. So you can answer bigger questions. But I like the question on the range. When you look at the ornamental market and you look at the gates are a great example.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the least expensive
mm-hmm.
gate that you've installed and the most expensive gate that you've installed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very wide range.
Yeah, people, there's a lot of people out there that don't understand just how expensive fucking gates are,
mm-hmm.
Like when you're selling them a $25,000, $30,000 gate without openers yet, and the openers are another $30,000,
mm-hmm.
like $60,000 to put a fucking open and closey thing on your driveway.
Right. Because they want round tops,
mm-hmm.
They want silhouettes
mm-hmm.
or some kind of architecture on it. And then you have automation.
Mm-hmm.
Then the color, if it's hammered powder coat,
mm-hmm.
solid powder coat, or, post, like there's so many variables that come into play. But so let's use the gates as an example, because it goes into part of qualifying the lead. You know, I'm going to give you the same thing. You know, Nate, we have gates that range from 10 to 15,000 without automation, and we have custom gates that range from 25 to 35,000 without automation. Which of those conversations would you like to have?
Right.
He may say, "Wait, are you telling me that your cheapest gate is 10,000?" For a full custom gate, our cheapest one is 10,000.
Right.
If you're just looking for rectangle panels, we can absolutely build those, but we don't carry anything that's prefabbed.
Yeah. It always cracks me up when people are like, well, I found this one on Tractor Supply. And I'm like,
$600 cattle gate.
I'm like, well, then fucking go get it. It's right there. You know,
the automation doesn't care what the gate is.
Right.
It'll open and close that gate.
Right.
But something that I want people to understand is your primary goal in the entire sales process is to inform and educate. That's it.
Right.
So you have to qualify, you have to ask questions, you have to identify the want or need, you have to create option-based solutions, and you have to inform and educate those people on those solutions. Inform them as to what you're doing and educate them as to how and why it solves their problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So the inform and educate process, and this was something that I told people sitting across the dining room table, looking at, a new furnace and air conditioner. I would tell them, say, Nate, my job here is not to sell you anything. My job here is to give you all of the information so you can make the best decision for you and your family. That's my job.
Right.
Because you can't have a good relationship without trust. And I'm not bullshitting them.
Right.
I want them to question my price. I want them to question my competitor's price. If I go to the table and I'm 8,000 and my competitor's 6, and they say, we got another bid and it's 6,000. I might ask you, Nate, why do you think they're so much cheaper than me? I don't know how they run their business, and I don't know the conversation that they had with you. What I do know is if 6,000 is your budget, we can look at modifying the options that I have for you, because I want to be able to earn your business within your budget.
Right.
I'm going to come back to what the solutions are, because it's not my job to find their money.
Right.
It's my job to solve their problem. And it's my job to inform and educate them. If at the end of the day, they choose the $6,000 guy and I can't work within their budget, I'm saving both of us a lot of headache.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's fucked up too, though? That because even if you are selling the same shit, they're going to end up getting that other $2,000 through change orders or something like that.
So your comment, they're going to end up getting the same shit. Let's talk about that real quick. And so I'm going to treat you like a client right now.
Oh, God.
Nate, what is your favorite kind of cake?
Ooh, red velvet.
Red velvet cake. Nate, if you, me, and Kat all went to the store and got the exact same ingredients and we used the exact same recipe, are we going to make the exact same red velvet cakes?
Yeah.
Are they going to come out the same?
I would think so.
Do you know anything about cooking?
No. If we're using the same exact recipe, the same exact ingredients.
They're not going to come out the same. No? They're not going to come out exactly the same.
Why? I don't know that. So.
Let's just say that Kat's phenomenal at baking cakes and she has the experience to do that. And mine comes out and it's like, why didn't my fucking cake rise? Or yours comes out and the bottom's burnt. Right? Because the recipe doesn't tell you how to use the oven. The recipe doesn't tell you how to use the KitchenAid.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this is a terrible fucking example.
You're the only person I've done this example with that fucked it up.
Oh, really?
Of course they're going to be the same.
That's why nobody can sell me shit.
I'm like, no, they're not going to be the same.
Fucking stupid for it.
My point is it. Once you take the stuff out of the boxes, it's only as good as it's installed. And we're pretty damn good at making red velvet cake. And that, that analogy that you fucked up was taught to me by a guy that had done sales for like 30 years because he made it relatable to them. And he helped them understand that, look, you can have the same pieces, but if you don't have the right experience and the right tools, it's not going to work correctly. And that's something, again, you're just informing and educating your client. They should wonder why the other person's cheaper. It's interesting because they gravitate to wondering why you're more expensive. Well, let's ask why they're cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to go with, especially around here.
Cheap doesn't sell.
We lost a job up at fucking Incline because we were the cheapest.
I believe it.
Yeah. So it's just like, we're really good at hitting middle number. That's usually where we land with everything that we do. It's been more lately that we are the more expensive, but we have a reputation that precedes us at this point in the game to where people are willing to pay that extra money, know, and especially like, custom home builders, they know what they're getting with us.
So, okay, it goes back to the steel is the same shit, right? But what are they getting with you?
Right.
They're getting communication.
Punctuality.
They're getting punctuality. They're getting quality people on the job.
Yeah. And quality product.
Yeah. So they're getting everything around the pieces. Sales is about that. It's about informing and educating the client about what you offer around the pieces. And the sales process that we talk about in identifying the want or need in the HVAC, we would start out and we had a concerns list. And meaning, if I'd come into your home, I had about 8 or 10 questions that I had created based on my experience. Some questions are going to be, Nate, do you have to turn up the TV when the air conditioner kicks on? Can you hear the outside unit outside your bedroom window? When you close your bedroom door, does your bedroom get hot or cold? Are there any other rooms in the house that are a different temperature than the main part of the house? I have 8 or 10 basic questions that I'm going to ask you that I know I've experienced in almost every home that I've been in. Those concerns lists are going to help, or just helping me identify your want and need. The other fucking crazy thing is somebody else might come in behind me or even before me, not ask those questions. So what does that tell the homeowner? That they either A, don't think it's important, or B, can't be solved.
Right.
Do you have any idea how many people think that you have to turn your TV up when the air conditioner kicks on because that's how it's always been?
Right.
That you can't solve that. People don't know that you can solve that problem.
Yeah.
But if I'm not communicating with you and I'm not clearly identifying your want and need, figuring out what your concerns are, and then creating option-based solutions to solve that, all I'm doing is taking a box out and putting a new box in. And I'm just saying, here, this is how much it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you have nothing to compare. You can't compare yourself to those people. So it is about creating the experience. And there's another two-word term that I want people to understand. When you go from answering the phone to calling back to qualifying the lead, and we can talk about the qualifying the lead a little bit more, to proposal delivery, to follow-up, to sale, to install, to collect. It's called value stacking. And everything that you do that adds value and creates a better experience and makes that client feel like they can trust you is value stacking. And it's like equity.
Right.
The more that you stack up towards the end, the better that whole experience is going to be for them. I wanted to come back to the lead qualifying real quick, because if you have an opportunity for the client to send you pictures and basic information, the gate, you don't have to go out there and get exact measurements to give a quote.
Right.
I want to know send me a picture. Is it asphalt, concrete, rock? What's the soil type? Do we need posts? Is it on a slope? And a dimension. How wide?
Right.
You're going to be able to come up with a very accurate proposal based on that. So now you get the client involved in the process.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, yep, we're having the $10,000 to $15,000 conversation. Great. Nate, a couple things that I need from you is just a couple pictures, left, right, and center of where the gates are going to go. And what is that span? How many feet is that?
Yep.
That's what I need. So they send that to you. Now you can create a proposal. Again, come up with some options if you want. You can have them send you pictures of things that they found online. Encourage them, right, to utilize the internet to their benefit to come up with some designs and send those pictures to you.
To stay away from Tractor Supply Co.
Yeah, no shit. And now you have information, okay, that you can utilize. Now you can call back. Me, I'm a fan of doing proposals in person because I think it's important to inform and educate through that proposal so they know what everything on that piece of paper means.
Right.
So I call back and I can say, Nate, I've got your proposal set up. I've got a couple different options for you. Everything that we come up with is between that $10,000 and $15,000 range. I'd like to find out what's the earliest convenient time for you that we can meet. Now we're going to go through that process in person.
Right.
If they want to come to your office, fine. If you want to go out there, fine. I encourage people to go there because if I pull up and I see that there's a fucking electrical box 10 feet away, I'm like, ooh, that might be a red flag, right? Or if there's a property line, it's like, oh, is there an easement? That might be a red flag.
Right.
Now I can put eyes on it. And if I need to make some contingencies, I can educate the client on that. But my point is, you want to get them invested and not just fucking run out the door every time somebody calls.
Right.
Here's the kind of the dichotomy to that. Rich people spend more because they don't want to be inconvenienced.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want the pain of the process.
Right.
So, the homes around here is a good example. Somebody calls me up and they've got a $20 million home and they want a new HVAC system or something. I don't have a problem going out there.
Yeah. Dude, the houses are fucking cool, Yeah.
But rich people pay for convenience. They don't want to be fucking bothered with the mundane, with the minutia. They have a fucking problem. They want you to figure out what it is, and they want you to tell them what the solutions are, inform and educate them, and they'll make a decision, and they'll pay you. You make that process painless for them, they'll pay you more.
Right.
It's the truth.
Right.
It's the truth. Most people are not going to fit into that criteria, and that's okay. Doesn't mean you have to treat them any different. You just get them involved differently.
Right.
So there's a good, qualifying that lead is really good. Kind of going through setting and meeting expectations, is really important too. Time constraints is a good expectation to set. My favorite conversation to have when it comes to time ownership is scheduling. Because, again, back to small business, back to tradesmen. When somebody calls up, they want something, they want a product or service that you're selling. And you say, yep, we can do that. I'm going to come out and look at it, or whatever the case is. The homeowner is going to go, okay, when can you come out? And then the business owner says, what works best for you?
Right.
Holy shit. You just turned that client into your secretary, and you just gave them full control of your operations.
Right.
Fucking disaster, and it happens multiple times a day. If somebody says, when can you come out? I'm going to say, Nate, I have some appointment time open Tuesday afternoon or Thursday morning. Which of those days works best for you?
Right. I mean, just by stating that, you're being reactive. Yes. Right? You're already being reactive right out of the fucking gates.
Well, how many times have early on especially, have you been in the middle of a project and you go, oh, fuck, I got to leave because I have a sales call at 2:00.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So now you have to quit whatever you're in the middle of, and so I encourage my clients. I'm like, look, Monday mornings are usually not a good time to plan with people, and Friday afternoons are not a good time. GCs or homeowners, it's usually similar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I said, so
dude, you can't even get any of them to answer their fucking phones on Friday afternoon.
No, exactly. My client Casey, great example. You know when he does sales calls? Tuesdays. Tuesdays.
Right.
The exception to the rule isn't the rule, but he does sales calls on Tuesdays.
Fucking A.
Morning to evening, he does sales calls on Tuesdays. You want a sales appointment? You're getting it on Tuesday.
Right.
But because he needs to be in the field, he's managing operations, he's doing other things, staging jobs, ordering. He does sales calls on Tuesdays. You know, so don't give the client the responsibility of running your schedule.
Right.
You give them options. Give them 2.
Yeah.
If they say, man, neither one of those days works for me, do you have anything Friday? Let me look, Nate. Matter of fact, I have Friday morning open between 8 and 11. Take me about an hour. What do you think? Narrow down that conversation. Set those expectations. You know, through the questions and everything too, you're going to identify what their expectations are. So getting in, now let's kind of go through to the sale. You've given them proposals. You've identified their wanted needs. You've informed and educated. It's okay to ask, Nate, how would you like to move forward from here? It's perfectly okay to ask that question. Because you're giving them the opportunity to buy something. And I think it's important that people understand how that's worded. You're not trying to sell them something. You're giving them an opportunity to buy. You're giving them an opportunity to solve their problems. And you're giving them an opportunity to select you to do that.
Right.
So, Nate, based on the information that I've given you and these options, how would you like to move forward? It's a great question.
Right.
It's a great question. You know, and he may say, man, you know, let me think about it. Say, okay, Nate, I respect that and I appreciate that because I want to make sure that you're making the best decision. I'm also going to call you in 3 days if I don't hear from you.
Yeah, right.
Right? So I want to set that expectation that there's going to be follow-up.
I'm going to harass the shit out of you.
Well, that's what people do, you know, but I want to set the expectation that I'm going to follow up.
Yeah.
If you say, you know what, this one right here, this is the option. I think this is what we want to go with. I say, all right, you know, as we discussed, this is our time frame, our expected time of completion and install. What I'm going to do, Nate, is I'm going to send you pictures and just kind of keep you updated as we go. Because I think taking the client with you in that journey, you know, on that journey is really important. When their material shows up, take a fucking picture of it and send it to them. When it's in the shop getting fabricated, take a picture of it and send it to them. When it goes off the powder coat, take a picture. You get my point?
Yep.
Like you're involving them in the process. There's another question that everybody needs to ask when they get down to the end of the sale. And, you know, if you've agreed and we're going to move forward, I'm going to say, okay, Nate, I've got one last question for you. Moving forward, what is it that you expect from me? Because I truly want to know that.
Yeah. I mean, right, you're establishing expectations.
Yes.
That's your client has them. You should probably know what the fuck they are.
Absolutely. And it's a good question on a couple levels. Is one, you're clarifying expectation, and two, you're handing the ball back to them for the final time. Right? You're giving them kind of that control and responsibility for that final time, and they're going to tell you. And, you know, you may say, you know, I think everything that we've discussed and what you've shared with me is I think that's great. And I'm going to say, Nate, then expect, you know, text messages or pictures from me probably every Thursday.
Shit. Yeah.
You know, and just so you know, Nate, that text message may be, hey, status is the same, waiting on material. Hope you had a great week. Talk to you next Thursday. It might be that fucking simple.
Right.
And that's okay. But asking that question of what is it that you expect from me moving forward just consecrates that relationship. And it's so important. So, sales.
Do it up. I'll be a douchebag.
Where are you going from here? Because you're on the bike.
Yeah. I know.
So great. Good to look at the back of that with you.
No, you got to sit on the tank facing towards me.
I'm wearing my thigh huggers.
Yeah, buddy.
Doing it. My leg hair blowing in the wind.
Grips.
Like a dog out the window. You just going straight home?
No, I might go swim by the social house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're interested, but
I could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. think we'll get off here. I'll call Katie and I'm down for some social.
All right.
Good food.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Their chicken waffles is pretty amazing.
Yeah. They have a fried green tomato margarita pizza that I'm very much a fan of.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. All right. You can find Nate on Instagram at NateNewton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there and get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.